Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Lack of Focus, episode 81B, the one that got away. I am your host, Ed Horn, and alongside me tonight, one Mr. Sean Dorsey. Sean, how's it going, my friend?
Good, Ed. I feel like I've been in this seat for this show once before, but
So do
that
I.
that could be just my imagination.
It might be. It might be. And of course, our producer extraordinaire, one Mr. Chris Sheriff. Chris, how's it going?
Good, thanks, Ed.
So it is an episode 81B. And the reason for that is episode 81A is lost to the warp. Unfortunately, we had some recording issues where
You can have
we
just my side of the conversation.
yeah, well, you could just hear Chris talking about, but it was easily the best X-Wing oriented show that we've done in has to be at least 3 years. Has to be. Fantastic conversation that started off a little throwaway comment that we thought was, but it went into these deep areas of talking about game design and game balance. And I mean, it was great. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, you're never going to be able to hear that show because I'm never going to be able to recreate that. So we're trying to help Chris out and try to record an emergency episode. But luckily, we have cool stuff to talk about. I was going to call this show the one that was going to be reinforcements incoming because the FO for the First Order and the Resistance are getting new ships. It was just I just saw tweets about it today. I think it was the first time that I've seen them. We've got new ships to talk about, so it's still going to be a very X-Wing oriented show. We're not going to kind of deviate far too long. We're going to do like super fast, lightning fast flight decks and just get right into the new ships and make it a close so that Chris has an easier time editing this one, so you at least have something out there. So flight deck real quick. Sean, what have you been doing lately?
Trying to build models. That's
Woo!
my flight deck.
How's it going? I mean, how far right now are you? Just out of curiosity.
So I got all the Hell Blasters done, and I got the lieutenant done from the big box, and
Yep.
then from the combat patrol, and then the first. I think it's an intercessor, and then I had to stop just because. But I will say this: I am pleased at the way that the models go together out of that combat patrol box. They're a lot better than the Hell Blasters and the other ones because they're molded differently.
Yeah,
There's like five or six pieces.
yeah, those are monopose. That is the direction that Games Workshop's going with their models. The original intercessors you got are multi-pose, so you can actually move the arms a little. Where you want
Yeah,
to do the arms, you want to have that guy looking that way, but or you want to have him doing this. No one's going to see this on video, but like my hands are moving as I'm talking. Um, and that's just the direction that Games Workshop is going for a multitude of reasons that I think I've lamented about before. I'm not a fan of the concept of monopose. I've always liked the idea of crafters and modelers and modders to be able to go in and change the poses of how models look. I like the guys that took the what am I thinking? The towel, the big mech suit for the towel. What am I thinking of?
Riptide.
The Riptide, like the guys that actually had it go down on bended knee when it was like taking a shot. I thought that was really cool. And now you can't pull that. I mean, you still can, but it's more like a level 3 modder. Like you have to get in there with saws and pinning, and it just becomes like the average gamer is not going to be able to do what you used to be able to
but I
do.
will say I think outside of the box, if you buy the if I bought the intercessors separate, I'm pretty sure that they would be different. It's not intercept. What the heck? Hold on. Let me see
Might be.
what I'm building.
I know that the 10 assault intercessors I got with the endowment box.
Infiltrators. They're infiltrators.
Ah,
I already build intercessors. But like out of this, if you were to build like buy a box of 10 infiltrators outside of this box, I'm sure that they would be the posable one.
yeah, no, I agree.
But here it's a lot easier for me to do this. I put the two models together in about 15 minutes between the lieutenant and the first one that I did. And the other thing I like is that in this instruction manual, it's a little bit easier to understand everything because they break it down, by the specific model, basically.
Yeah,
Bunch of kits now as well, Sean, are labelled as easy build kits and stuff, where
yeah,
theoretically
exactly.
you can build them with like glue and stuff. So that's probably what you wanted to look for. And
Yeah,
they do design it in such a way that you can make viable by the rules lists out of them. It might not be viable in a competitive meta environment, but obviously that's not
Right.
what you're looking for anyway.
correct, right. See, and what I'm using to put everything together too is the Tamiya extra thin cement.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
a good
go.
one.
That's a good one.
The reason why I'm using this, I also have the army plastic model glue stuff, But I like this stuff better because I can control it better on how much I'm
That's
putting
on the
on.
narrow-headed brush as well.
I was just
So
gonna say
Yeah.
it's brush
Yep.
applicated. That's why.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
if I need more, I just apply more, but I can also hit areas. I do slop it around a little bit more just because, when you're trying to get into small spaces and things like that, sometimes the brush blades flip, and then but it's easier to clean up than like using the thicker, the bigger glue.
Yeah,
So,
I have a love-hate relationship with plastic cement. I do prefer that for gluing my models, but it's a little bit goes a long way kind of thing. If you use
yeah.
too much of it and it presses out, because of the chemical reaction it has with the plastic, it starts melting detail off if you're not careful.
Yeah,
Um,
and I've had that a couple times just on minor bits on things,
mhm.
but with this thin stuff, it doesn't do it as much.
Yep.
It's still cement and it still does the same thing. It's just not as aggressive as the other glue.
I
So,
I could tell you tales of the old testers, like orange tube.
yeah, the orange, yeah, the one that
Yep.
smelled like orange and stuff. Yeah,
Yep. That was good
yeah,
stuff.
that stuff, and then the strings would be 3 feet long because
Yes.
you're trying to pull the strings off and stuff.
And then you go to
So
climb them and you still see spider webs on them, and it's still the glue that you didn't see before. Yep.
didn't see, yeah, and you
Yep.
have to carve it all
Absolutely.
off. So it's actually going better now that I am here, but I'm still way behind from where I want to be. But that's just because life is life, and
Yeah.
sometimes adulting sucks. So
Sometimes.
it's just it's just one of those things. I'm pleased with where I'm at, and I'm already in my second thing of pluck foam to start putting the models in and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
What case did you end up going with?
Um, I got just a cheap one. I got uh, it's the Games Plus products case.
Oh, interesting. I've never gotten one of those. I'm trying to get myself some more KR multi-case stuff. Like I'm kind of a big fan of those cardboard cases they get and the big
Yeah,
travel ones you can put them in there. I got a couple of those. Like I got it from some tournament I went to as prize support, and I got those. And I got so I've got the KR multi-case metal case behind
for the
me,
yeah.
but then I also
I
got a couple of the cardboards too, which are really nice.
so I got. I'm just going with what what the game shop here locally has, and
Mhm.
they have it's decent pluck foam and stuff, and it fits most of the models standing up. This guy has a little floofy thing on an antenna, so I had to put him in laying down and stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
But it's good for what I'm using it for sure. And like I said, I'm not going to go crazy. And I think this whole setup is like $100.
Yeah, it's
For
not
all
bad.
the foam, and I can still get two more smalls or a bigger foam if I decide to get another vehicle and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty good for me, and good for what I'm trying to do with it. And so um it's good, it's fun, but like, my my big thing, and we didn't do D&D this week because of me, but so my flight deck's going to be very short, a long-winded short flight deck. But models is my ultimate goal, not this weekend probably, but getting them done within the next couple weeks. I think I'll have that done. So
I wouldn't have it any other way, Sean. And I heard that Thousand Sons book is coming out soon, so your son's book's going to be his codex is going to be updated.
the new model looks pretty sweet. Is it the Manchester?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's already got all that figured out. The good thing for him is we bought it's the book that gives you the points. It's like for the tournament stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Chapter approved to
that's the one for
2021.
5.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
was
just
going to say General's Handbook, but that's the
so
Age of Sigma one.
yeah. He actually has the points, which is good because the points that'll be in his Thousand Sons will match that. So
They may
so if
or may
he
they may or may not. So that's the funny thing with those chapter approves. They are up to date the date that they are printed. If they do the same thing that they did last year in 2020, about 6 months into the year, 6 or 7 months into the season, so we're looking at probably October, November region, they're going to do a big FAQ that will FAQ that and FAQ points. So his codex is going to come out somewhere in the middle. So his
right,
codex points are going to trump whatever is in the codex approved. or chapter approved, and then when that big FAQ comes out, that's going to be the next one. So it's kind of a rolling. If your codex gets released the year that goes in between like that, it's a rolling catch up to see where your points are going to be.
Gotcha. Either way, we have, if we were to play before his codex released, we have points that we can at least
Yeah,
go off of.
and even if you didn't, even if you went off with just what's in chapter approved, you're going to be close enough.
Yeah, and for us, it's not going to matter because we're
Right.
not, we're not playing for prizes or anything. We're just playing to have fun and
Right.
learn the game and get a little bit more into it. And the nice thing is, once I'm done with this, then I'll start on the Dominion stuff. Start putting that together.
Did you decide which half interests you most?
What is it? The not human, but whatever they are.
The Cruel Boys.
Yeah, it's the
Cruel Boy.
Well, no, not those.
Oh, the Stormcast Eternals.
Yeah, the Eternals. Yeah,
I mean,
I would rather.
Marines.
I would rather get the humans, than the Eternals, but that's a good starting point, just to be able to play it and stuff. So, but it is cool because that book inside the rule book is really cool. That's it's a beautiful, beautiful book, beautiful cover.
Still see it over my shoulder.
I can.
Still not finished. Right, the table's just got messier and messier.
That's how it always is, Chris. You
Occasionally,
clean it off just to put more stuff on it.
Yeah, can't lie.
Kris, do you want to go over what you've been up to lately? Do you even want to talk about it?
I don't know, man. So I recorded like a 2-minute intro to the D&D episode for the audio version to explain why the people expected to be downloading an X-Wing podcast weren't getting one. And I was like, I'm not going to go into it because I just don't have the energy. But obviously, I can't remember if this was only spoken about on the show we lost or whatever. But so far in July, I've been having a bunch of weird and wonderful stuff going on at work because obviously COVID's starting to wind down, so we're looking at like events coming back. So trying to figure out what my job role is going to be and how that's all going to fit together has been relatively stressful. And then I got home at like 2 a.m. on a Thursday morning a few weeks ago now, and like the dishwasher had leaked. So dealing with all of that. So like insurance claims and excess and the project manager and different contractors, and then having to sort out the dishwasher itself being repaired because the insurance only covers the results of damage, not the cause of the damage.
That's interesting.
So it's $1,000 excess for the damage to the house, which like there's stains on the ceiling from where it came through into a basement here. So all of this textured ceiling is going to get. He said what he was going to do because of the amount of stuff in here. It was like, we've got this plastic stuff that they paint on or something, and then you just pull it off as a big strip. But obviously, I'm going to have to do something with all of the damageable stuff in here. And then all of this ceiling's going to get redone. The floor upstairs needs to come up so we can check if there's any like real damage. But obviously, like, it's been 2 weeks just waiting. They've done nothing. I don't even have. Okay, and that's Evie saying she wants to go to bed. Do I really want to? What? She's coming downstairs again. I can hear her on the stairs. So that's going to be a hassle at some point. Evie, are you coming back down?
Sticky.
You got your bug?
Sticky.
Yeah.
Sticky spider.
It is. It's a sticky ladybug, not a spider.
Sometimes I call it spider.
Yeah. Do you want to get your drink and take your drink upstairs?
I just like you.
I like you too.
Put your phone back on.
Yeah, because I'm working.
Hi.
So, what else did we had? The ceiling, and the guy came to look at the dishwasher and was like, "It's probably not worth fixing."
Me.
Yeah. We're just going with Evie here, FYI. I'm not editing this out. It's fine.
Just leave her go.
Lady.
Oh, I love those. Those little wall crawler things. I love those.
Is that the houses?
It is the houses, that's right.
Even at this house.
Yeah, we do live at this house, that's right.
Forever.
Forever?
Yeah.
Forever.
I don't live here forever. It might be too small soon.
You might have to go to a new house.
Yeah.
And we'll keep it for a little bit.
We will keep it for a little bit though.
Yeah, because we're all gonna get a
We'll
house
have to
together
change
when we
all the
retire.
houses.
Yeah. So that went wrong. What's the stuff going wrong there? The dryer broke.
Excited.
So I've been trying to fix that today, but I think I've narrowed it down to
Spider.
either like the motor, which isn't worth replacing, or the
Right.
Come on.
the control board. But a new control board is like $350 or something from what I can find online. And I'm not 100% sure because it's like 70-30. Yeah. So there we go. A bunch
So
of
lots,
garbage.
lots of bad luck in Chris's recent history. So
And obviously, I was saying to Sean, I was really, really glad that we didn't play D&D on Monday because we got sticky spiders. Because of all the stuff going on, I was trying to get more hours at work, so I worked all weekend and then streamed as well. So I hadn't had a chance to edit it. Okay.
Daddy.
Evie. So had we actually played D&D, I would have been up until like 4 a.m. trying to figure it all out. As it was, I managed to still go to bed before 11, so that was good.
that's good.
Dad, is that you?
That's us, yeah.
Yeah. There's two of us.
There is. Because this one's us talking, and this is us being recorded on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now.
There's a Lego.
Yeah.
Dad, what is that Lego for?
It's for looking at or playing with. What Lego do you have?
I don't know.
I think you do. What type of Legos do you have?
Punto Lego.
You do have Rapunzel Tower, that's right.
Yeah, Mommy has new Lego.
What's your new one?
I don't know.
Does it have a robot?
Yeah.
What robot does it have?
Hello, what?
In which ones?
BB-8.
BB-8, and what's the other one?
I can't remember.
Is it R2... R2D2, that's right.
R2D2.
Yeah. Okay. Because you've got your own little X-Wing, haven't you?
I'm slipping.
You are slipping. Okay, well, I'm going to go and try and put it back to bed. And that's my flight deck. I did streaming, but we'll cover that on your flight deck.
Yep, we'll cover that.
That was 14 or 18. We'll get the second time stop at 25. I'll let you hear them. I'll have to hold this over your ears. Ready?
Hi.
Good night, Evie.
Good night.
Yeah, let's see in a bit. Yeah, shall we get your water as well?
About 7.
Yeah.
Oh, to have little kids.
Oh, I know. It's been a while. There are those points in time in my life where I look at my kids and like, oh, I miss it. I kind of miss it. Life's so much simpler at that age. It really is.
By far, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's something to be said for the fact that my kids are fairly self-sufficient. Like, I don't have to worry about one of them drinking something under the sink that they're not supposed to, kind of thing.
Right.
That's kind of nice. I do like that.
Right.
I do like the fact that I can leave a room and not worry about the house burning down. I'm a
Yep.
fan of that. Like, in my head, if I could just stop them growing right now, like where they are now, and if I didn't get any older either, I'd be fine with it. Like that would be nice.
Yeah. That would be your nexus point where you're just caught in the loop, and
Right, exactly. If I got caught in the Nexus, that's where I would go.
yeah, it's weird because Aaron's 26, so it's like you don't get those days back. That's the one thing about it that I think a lot of
Yeah.
people forget is we live in a hustle and bustle world, and you just don't get them back, and
Well, and it just goes so fast. Like, for example, like I'm getting ready to have like in October will be my 5-year anniversary working with my job, and I'm like, I don't even know how that happened.
yeah.
Like,
Weren't we on the old show when you got that job?
yeah,
Because you were laid off from the one you had before or something, and then got that one.
correct. Well,
Well, you
so
took this job when you moved back because your wife
yeah, I was
was.
That's right. Yeah,
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 so I was gonna say, so basically how it worked out is when we moved out to Ohio, we still kept doing the show whenever I was still in Ohio. When we came back from Ohio, I took the summer off to keep an eye on the kids and then got this job in October.
right.
Um, but that was 5 years ago. And like
Yeah,
that's just insane to me that it's gone that quick.
yeah, yeah. It goes by very too fast. The
Ooh,
older you get, the quicker it goes.
yeah, I'm starting to pick up on that. All
I
right.
still, I still remember the days in grade school when you're staring at the clock and it seems like it's like months for the
Or, s-
clock to move 5 minutes.
or summer vacation felt like the longest thing ever. And
Oh
then you're like, oh,
yeah,
and now it's like we're getting ready to go into August here shortly. The kids will be going back to
yeah,
school here in about a month.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy. All right.
All right,
It's all
all
right.
right.
I'm not editing. I'm
No,
just gonna. I'm
well,
gonna leave as much of it in as I can because
leave
this
it.
is what they get.
This is what happens on a B show. All right, so for my flight deck, I'm going to try and get really, really quick. I've been really, really getting into 40K. I've been doing. I'm now at 7 games
You
played in
can't
person
fix it.
between my son and I playing here in the basement as he's testing out and trying out his lists and getting deeper and deeper into it. Having deep conversations that's probably the fun part for me. Like that's the one thing I'm enjoying. So I went up and played Chad that one Tuesday night. The following Tuesday, I offered, hey, Chad's son's Logan's coming. He's looking to play. Do you want to come up and try it out? And Gabe's like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then I gave him my old firstborn Marines. And the next thing you know, we're having 2.5 hour conversations as he's list building and preparing to like, this is the list I'm going to take next week. This is what I want to do. This part didn't work out very well. I want to add this and take away this, and I want to look at this upgrade. It's been fantastic. It's been having a ton of fun. And I'm painting my ass off now. Uh, Part of what's helping me paint my ass off, by the way, is a certain stream that runs every Sunday in the evening, which is just a perfect way for me to end my week. I've been watching Chris's stream every Sunday, painting with Chris Sundays. I don't know if he's got an official title, but in my mind, that's what it is. Because what it does is it gives me an excuse to sit the iPad here in front of me and get paints out. Because your first stream, Chris, I sat and watched. I mean, and it's fun, it's enjoyable because I can interact more often. But then there's another thing. Well, if I'm sitting here watching someone paint, I should be putting some use to this. And so then I started getting paint. So I've gotten so much stuff painted, so much so that I've got almost all of my Necron stuff done. I've got 10 immortals I've got to finish up. I'm probably going to finish this up tomorrow because I need them for my next game and my Necron Nightbringer. I have a Catacomb Command Barge I need to finish for my 2,000 point army. And then I have some of those like loose things that came with the Indominus box set that I don't really want to run, but they're there. So I kind of just want to paint them. Like the Scorpec Destroyer Lord looks really cool, and I want to paint it because it looks fun. I don't know that I'm ever going to run him, but it's there, and I might as well paint it. There's the Crypto Thralls are in there. The one other Cryptech that's in there that isn't very good. The Plasmancer, I think it is. And then I've got a bunch of Scarab bases. But beyond that, I don't have anything else Necrons left to really need painted. I am at the phase where I'm at the point in time. So I've had my Necrons for so long. I bought them back whenever they were in 4th edition, so everything's on 28 millimeter bases. And when they re-released them with this the 9th edition set, their GW is going to a 32 millimeter base. So I'm at the point now where I'm starting to replace models, where I'm going to retire my old smaller base Necron Warriors and replace them with new ones. So I do have 20 Gauss Reaper Warriors I need to paint from the Indominus box set. On Chris's advice, because he made me do it, because he twisted my arm. I went out and bought an additional 20 Necron Warriors that are 32 millimeter based ones. So I've got to prime and paint those up as well. But then after all of that, I'm kind of done. So the next thing I'm moving on to are going to be painting Primaris Marines. I really like, because I have basically 1,000 points sitting here in that Indominus box set. Like, well, they're there. I might as well paint them, right? And I've followed Chris's advice on how I'm going to be doing the paint scheme. There's this handy dandy app, oddly enough, that Games Workshop puts out for free, that will help you show, hey, if you want to do this as a traditional paint style, these are the paints you pick up. Or if you want to do it the contrast way, these are the paints you're going to paint up. And since I'm watching Chris's streams and I'm watching him use contrast paints on there, I'm like, ooh, I want to give that a try. So I'm trying a whole bunch of the Primaris army is going to be a whole bunch of it's going to be 2 new techniques all at once, because not only I'm going to paint them, they're going to be purple, because Belisarius Cole would never ever use Trader Gene Seed to make Primaris Marines. That would never happen. So they would never use Emperor's Children's Gene Seed to make Primaris Marines. So I'm going to be painting them up in Emperor's Children purple. But I'm also going to go with some of their basing material, like the faux effects of stuff that they got for the material. So I picked up Mars Earth Crust, I think it is, or Earth. It's whatever the iron. It's whatever the Martian one that cracks. It's that crackling paint.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give that a shot, because I want these guys are going to be from a more Martian type of material. I mean, I even bought tufts. So instead of doing the old woodland scenics, little white glue, put some grass down, I even bought tufts, even though fundamentally I still feel they're out of scale.
You should look at the Gamers Grass ones, because they come in a bunch of different lengths and stuff, so you can do some really interesting stuff.
Oh, maybe. I got the Army Painter ones because that's just the ones that the store had, but maybe I'll take a look into that.
And available at the Sentry Box.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I will.
I know, because I stock them, and they come in like a bunch of alien colours as well. I've got an alien range. So if you're doing like orange, you could get like neon blue plant life and stuff.
Ooh, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. That's a good idea. I might have to look into that. Yeah. I do need to kind of figure out what I need to paint the bases underneath, because is that paint... All right. Full disclosure, Ed spent a year and a half working at a paint store as he was working his way through college. So I know way more about house paints and faux painting than I ever wanted to know in my entire life. And for those who don't know, faux painting is the ability to paint onto a wall, onto a finish that isn't real. Faux meaning false. So that crackle paint started coming out in the early 2000s, and that's the stuff that they put on like old chairs to make it look old, even though it's not old. So this technology has been around for a while on how they do it, but what ends up happening is whatever color is underneath of the cracks is going to show through. So now I need to decide, what color do I want to show through? Do I want to have a black show through, or do I want to have like a deep dark red show through? What would be under Martian surface? So like I've spent more time than I care to admit looking at actual photos from Mars to see, well, what's underneath? Like if there's a crack in there, what does it look like underneath? Because I want it to be like authentic to know what color I'm going for. And it looks like a deep brown would probably be working well for me. So I think that might be the direction I go.
Yeah, basically you want to avoid the lighter colours. The default for me generally is I'll just repaint the base black. But I've been experimenting on Nurgle Demons with a few different effects, because for my Nurgle Demons, I'm trying to find a crackling paint where I can have like the ooze coming out from underneath it.
Ooh, so that's a good idea.
I was doing white and then building up some like fluorescent colours underneath, then put a crackling paint on, then work from the cracks outwards a little bit so it looks like it's cracking because there's this ooze coming up out of the ground. But it's still a little bit away.
I saw this badass tutorial on how to make like a lava effect going under it. So you start off with like a dark red on the outside of if it's a round base, a dark red on the outer, and then you start getting into your oranges and your whites down to the point where you're almost like a small circle of white. So whenever the cracks come out, it looks like lava underneath of it. It was a really cool tutorial. I'm not going to do that, but that was a badass idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was at the game store last. I complained to Kris on his stream that my number 2 sable brush, I did end up using dish washing soap, but it was starting to fork. which is super annoying when you're trying to keep a sharp point. Because as Kris has even said in his streams, it doesn't really matter what size brush you use, as long as it keeps a sharp point. It could be a larger brush, as long as it's got a sharp point, you should still be able to get detail paint, which is absolutely accurate. However, the minute that one of two things happens, if it's a cheaper brush and it's not natural hair, they'll hook, cut that off, and it becomes a dry brush because it's done. Just put it into because brushes have life cycles, and that is not a detail brush anymore. That's not a layer brush anymore. That is a dry brush because it's done. But what ends up happening is if you don't clean and maintain your brushes, what ends up happening is you get paint inside the ferrule, which is the material they use to keep all the hair together, which is usually wax. And you'll get paint in there, and then it'll slowly start forking just like a comb going through hair, and it'll start forking your brushes. So I ended up cleaning it with dish soap, but they do make other professional brush cleaners that you can use to clear that up. So I did clean out my number 2 brush, but I picked up another one just in case, because I've never used an army painter brush before, and I wanted to try one. So long story short, I've got a lot of gameplay in. None of it's X-Wing, all 40K. I'm really enjoying the game. I really, really do like 9th edition. I think all the fun stuff that they have added with the tactical game, with the stratagems that are added to it, the fact that I can sit down and go, it always bothered me, 5th edition and other previous editions of the game, where it's basically a slugfest for 4 turns, and then on the last turn and a half, then you start caring about objectives. I like that the game is not that way anymore. I like that the game is like, you need to start being concerned about objectives on 2nd turn, 3rd turn, 4th turn, and the longer you're holding those objectives, the more points you're calculating up as it goes up. I like that. I like the way that it's scored. So I'm having a ton of fun playing and showing up to the game store with fully painted models. So it's been fun.
Good. I'm glad. I'm proud of you.
And tune into Kris' stream on Sunday because you can see me complain about my forked brushes.
Yeah, I've done. I did. Well, last stream was on Tuesday, I think. I was supposed to stream today, but I was doing a dryer, all day today, or most of the day. So that's why I didn't stream today. But Tuesday's stream was me rearranging the painting desk. I kept meaning to, once the stream's finished, I'll spend some time tidy up and get stuff set up for the next one. But the way the month's been going, I've just never had. So I set out stream, so I'm going to stream, but literally we're just going to stream just organising the painting desk.
I'll make that content.
So then I had, I've been streaming for an hour and a half. I thought it's a bit short to call it a night, so I did a 1 hour speed paint on Commissar Yarick, which I posted in the Discord and on Instagram and stuff. That was fine.
You just had a Commissar Yarick just hanging around in the house.
Part of the thing with looking at the Sentry box, especially when I used to be more involved in the used Games Workshop stuff, if anything came through, I was like, it's a cool mod. So I've got like the old Commissar, the Power Fist on his, got a Power Fist down, like the iconic one. Yeah. Those ones aren't soft toys, are they? You said you were going to get a soft one you could hug. You can put them on the couch, that's okay. But I want you to go and get a soft toy, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I've been sleeping down in the basement because it's been like stupidly hot. And I just fidget, which keeps Jill awake, and obviously she's going to get up early to go to actual work, so it's just been easier.
Yeah.
Okay, you can get a soft toy, okay?
Yeah.
That you can give big hugs to. So, yeah. I'll clean it later, okay?
It's a bit dirty.
Thanks. Apparently the basement's a bit dirty.
Spider, okay?
I won't forget your sticky spider, okay? Yeah, I know you mean your ladybug. So, yeah. Yeah.
We'll get through it, Kris. We'll get through.
Oh, it's fine. I don't mind. I'm just tired myself. I want to go to bed.
I understand.
It's been one of those weeks. No, Joe's going out with one of her friends. She's not working or anything, but I was like, no, just go and do it because she needs some time to kind of unwind and chill out herself. So this is the sacrifices we make because
that's
we
what
weren't supposed to be recording tonight anyway. So I was like, no, mate, just go. We'll make it work. So Evie's
that's what my wife's doing right now. She's out and about.
Yeah. I thought we've got some of our friends moving back to UK, and they're having a going away party tomorrow. And they've got like kids around Evie's age, so I said you can't get too drunk because we've got to be fit to go to that. But yeah, that's where I am anyway. She's coming back down now. So yeah, Jill had told her that she could try and sleep down here if she got tired.
Snake.
Oh, you brought your big snake? Wow. Okay. Yeah. You're gonna give him a big hug in bed? Yeah. He doesn't know we have a basement, that's right.
He's on here.
He is on here. That's right.
Oh, we've got one of those too.
Yeah. Is he getting me? No, don't get me.
That's what snakes do to people's faces.
Is that what snakes do to people's faces? Okay. Mwah, mwah. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what we're saying.
That was the end of mine. That was the end of mine anyway. So if you do want to get into as quickly as we can, main topic. So Kris doesn't have 3 hours worth of podcast to edit. We had some announcements today. So we did talk about this. We talked about this when we talked about the new talents that were added to.
Yeah, we touched on Fury of the First Order because Asmodee France, I think, leaked it because the product was available on their website, so people took screenshots. So we knew about Fury of the First Order, we didn't know about Resistance Y-Wings.
And now we do. This is an interesting trend, though, with this pack, and I'm kind of curious to see if this is something that's going to continue with moving forward.
It's on that desk.
I think in reality, this is a good way for them to move forward.
I agree. So, like, it's probably going to come in at the $40 price range, like they have been, and you're going to get 2 ships, 2 different paint schemes, and I like it. I like the way that it's going. I mean, I could see the guys going. I could see X-wing.
Is this the
players
Y-Wings we're talking about? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll pull that picture up for people watching on YouTube.
So I could see people going, well, I only want one Y-Wing. I only want all the pilots, and I only want to spend $20 on that because I just want all the upgrades in there, and I don't really want to go and get all of the other stuff. But for a faction, for 2 factions, for both of these that are desperately in need of fresh blood, desperately in need for a higher ship count, this is going to be fantastic for them. I genuinely do look forward to this. I'm looking for those New Republic Y-Wings are pretty sharp. I'm not sure how I feel about having all red actions with the exception of focus, but it does seem to be clear to me that these things, it's an interesting design style as I was looking at this today.
So
because
just before we go on to the car, I want to talk about the aesthetic a little bit.
Sure,
so one thing that surprised me, obviously, so Y-Wings are Republic era ships. So we've got Republic Y-Wings where it's the fully armored, and then the ones that are
to be canonically correct, they're actually older than that. But okay,
but as in, well, no, because I'm pretty sure when Ahsoka uses them in Shadow Squadron, they're talking about them being the new bomber. So I think the Clone Wars era ships. So they might have been older, but I might be wrong.
Aren't these the transition ships between the old and the new?
Yeah, but anyway, this is off my point.
Yeah.
So obviously the Clone Wars era ones have got the heavy armor on. The Rebellion strips the armor off because they don't have the parts to maintain it. So why do a New Republic ones that are new not have armor?
Daddy.
Why? What's the design?
Daddy.
Yeah. You want to
That's a
help
good
me?
point.
Okay.
Other than making it cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that you can really do with it is
Because I don't
make
think
it a
we
few
saw
points
them.
cheaper.
Like, are they in Rise of Skywalker in that big fleet battle or something? Like, was that many ships? So yeah, but
So it's entirely possible that they would. So you could practically.
Well, wait a minute, but you're talking New Republic, right? You're not talking
Yeah.
Resistance here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this would have been Rogue One time frame, maybe.
Maybe. Because, we're a New Republic patrol. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like the aesthetic for them. I just think it's an interesting design choice. I really like the sleekness on the cockpit. It's definitely a different sculpt and a different looking ship. But yeah.
I've always said the Y-Wing is one of my favorite ships. So, like, I'm a gigantic fan. But you are correct in the fact that you're like, why didn't they go with a different? So, what this also would mean with both of these kits, with the exception of the Whisper that we're going to talk about here in a moment, with both of these kits, that means that most likely this meant that are these new ships that Fantasy Flight Games, I assume this is still residual for, I know it's got Atomic Mass Games on the tweets, but I'm sure this is still part of the design.
The card, I think. So there was a leaked card for the TIE Whisper, which has still got the LFL FFG logo on the side.
Right.
Yeah.
So my point is, so specifically with that TIE SE bomber, I don't recall ever seeing that ever. So
No,
then the question, so my point is, did FFG get the opportunity to once again create a new ship and add it into Star Wars canon like they did with the Raider? And I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with it because I mean, it's entirely conceivable. There's plenty of other ships that the Imperial had. There's other ships that the First Order had that we just never saw on film. So I'm totally on board with, and I think that's the only way, especially with depending what direction LucasArts goes with as far as new Star Wars material, we may not visit this era of Star Wars for some time ever again. So
we are. No.
Andor is pre-original series.
That's what Sean's saying. He's saying that.
But you're getting to that time frame though. You know that Andor time frame isn't that much lagging behind New Republic.
No, you're thinking Mandalorian. Andor's pre-episode 4. Because obviously Cassian dies on...
I get that, but New Republic... See, because from what I remember, this was kind of a mixture. These were just coming out, like, this type of I know that they're calling them New Republic, but weren't these the modified Y-Wings, like the Battle of Endor? Weren't they there too?
But you're more looking at the Mandalorian timeline at that point then.
Is it?
Or is it? Yeah. Because Andor would be before the Battle of Yavin. It's like 5 years before Yavin. Yeah. Whereas in Mandalorian's 5 years after Endor.
Yeah.
Right. But the First Order ones are clearly 20-ish, 30-ish years in the future whenever the First Order finally decides to assert their dominance on the galaxy again. So that is completely new canon as far as I'm concerned, because again, maybe it's in, I don't know that First Order is in what is the Star Wars Fighters game? Why am I drawing a blank on that?
But not Squadrons.
Squadrons, yeah. I don't think they're in Squadrons. So
no, it's just Civil War era.
Yeah. So my point being, I'm applauding FFG for going through and getting the licensing agreement to be able to create new ships and add them in, even if they are still Y-Wing chassis.
Remember the Lego, I've got one here that Evie built, the Lego Resistance Y-Wing. So it must have been planned to be in Rise of Skywalker. But, and again, it might even be in it, but it's just in that battle somewhere.
Right.
I think I maybe watched... I don't even know if I've watched it twice.
I have not watched it.
I watched it one time in the theater. I watched it a second time when I was on the plane to go to Scotland and Ireland to make sure that that would have been Rise of Skywalker
It
that
would
would
have
have been
been
Last
Last
Jedi that
Jedi. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think I've only ever seen that movie once. I saw it one time
Yeah.
and
I've probably watched Last Jedi 3 times, maybe 4. I've watched Rise of Skywalker once, maybe twice. So,
yep.
hell.
I'm just saying it goes to show.
Yeah.
I'm on my third rewatch of The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, just for the record.
I've only watched season 2 once, all the way through, because I figure I'll save that for when season 3 comes out. And
Yeah, you do the rewatch
I'll
for it.
rewatch then. Yeah,
I've been watching Bad Batch. That's been fine. But
Yeah,
not that it wouldn't be a lack of focus, but
I've been addicted to The Expanse, so there's nothing going on but that really. That and Loki series.
Oh my god. Okay, so the thing that you guys are gonna miss in episode 81A was the fact that we were talking about doing a lack of focus on some of the Marvel shows, and I'm like, all right, well, crap. So quite literally, I get up from this table, I shut all the computers down, I go upstairs, and what is my son watching? He's watching Loki. And I'm tired, I'm getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like, he's into episode 2, and there I sit for 25 minutes to watching, and he's catching me up with where it is. I'm like, all right, I gotta sit down and watch this. So I literally binged watch on Sunday while I was doing laundry and all the other stuff. Binge watched Loki from episode 1 to episode, what was it, 6? I think it was a 6 episode.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
I'm just going to say it, just stop, because we're supposed to be doing an in focus on all of this.
All right,
just stop. Like I'm gonna edit out those. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna edit out the spoilers, and I'm just gonna put a thing in saying.
All right. But my point being
57.26, because people will just whinge that that's not adequate spoileriness.
Not even though I gave a sufficient warning. That's not
sufficient. As in, if we're on the treadmill or doing something, you've got to blah blah blah.
Yeah. All right, fine. All right, so let's get into. So we've got into the aesthetic. First of all, we're going to get into the aesthetic. I definitely like the aesthetic of what they're doing with the First Order ships. For some reason, I don't remember the Whisper. So the Whisper that we're looking at here and the model.
So we're not on that. We're just doing the Resistance because I can only bring up one image. Well, I can bring up all of them. But,
fine. So now we're looking at New Republic Y-wings. Like I said, so if we can go a step further after we've gotten out of the aesthetic, let's take a look at the ship itself. I like the ship in general because I'm a gigantic Y-wing fan. I'm always going to like Y-wings. I was iffy on aside from the focus, every action on there is red, but
it's got a boost.
It does have a boost, which is red, but it also looks to me as if they're taking it's an interesting camp onto the discussion that nobody's going to hear from episode 81. It looks like they're taking an interesting camp onto generics, in that it's clear to me that with the baked-in ability of the intuitive interface after you perform an action added to your action bar from either a talent, an illicit, or a modification, you may.
I'm so proud of you, Ed. So proud of you. Aww. You called it a talent, not an EPT.
I know. I'm getting there. You may perform a calculate action. It to me feels like that there's other pieces that you would bolt onto this. Like, so for example, if you wanted to get a red boost and not if you wanted a white boost and not a red boost, you could put engine upgrade on it. If you wanted to get a white,
if you do a white boost, the white boost is granted to you by that engine upgrade, so you'll get a calculate.
Right. So like,
if you put an ion turret on it, it adds a white rotate.
Right. Yeah. So you see where I'm going. So it's almost as if this is a bare bones chassis for you to put on. Now, my hope would be that AMG would account for that in the points, because if you just looked at this ship, and I assume that this is the low initiative 1, initiative 3, maybe there is one initiative 1, who knows. For the New Republic Patrol, it's coming in initiative 3, but it's got all red actions. I don't know how much value I would put into that ship base. Having said, we don't see the dials, but we can probably take a fair good guess that it's going to be at least comparable or similar to other Y-wing dials that we've seen. When you start taking all those factors into account, you're like, well, how many points is this ship going to be? Is it going to be an 18-point ship, a 20-point ship? because there's not a lot here to really get excited about unless it's, like I said, unless it's loaded with other upgrades or other means to add those upgrades, and then that gets into the title if we want to get into that as well.
I just want to run through the stat block for you, obviously,
Sure.
compare it to a normal Rebel Y-wing. So they're both 2 attack front arc, both 1 agility. The Resistance one has got 4 hull compared to Rebel 6, but it's got 3 shields instead of 2. So it's 1 less overall health pool, but one of them's a shield. And if you look at the dial on the Rebel Y-wing, it's got the 1 banks, 1 straight as blue, 2 hards, 2 banks, 2 straight, with straight being blue, 3 hards are red, the rest of the 3s are white, and a 4 straight being red, and a 4K. The Republic Y-wing has got the same dial, but only the straights are blue.
Right.
For this one, because it's got a boost, I kind of hope that it's like the Z95, where it's the 2 banks that are blue. Because I think that it's a lot harder to clear stress with the 2 bank rather than the 1 bank.
Yeah, I agree.
So that could be an interesting take, because it then feels like a faster ship as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But it also comes with a title, which is the wartime loadout, which I think is interesting, and the point
standardized as well. So if you put it on 1, every one of these in your list has to have it.
Correct. Aside from the fact that it adds 2 shields, and it adds a white target lock, and it adds a white reload. You see where this is going. It also says that you gain the torpedo and missile slots and replace it, which makes me
gain 1 torpedo and 1 missile slot, so it might already have
right. So there is that possibility that maybe it already has 1, and you're just adding secondary ones, or the possibility that it doesn't have any, and that we really are talking about a bare bones chassis that you modify and add things on and bolt little pieces onto it the way that you want it. And the ability, of course, is pretty fantastic. I actually really like this. The devastating barrage, while performing a torpedo or a missile attack, if the defender is in your bullseye arc, your critical results cannot be canceled by evade dice results, which is outstanding. So if you have something that's going to push through shields, or drop shields correctly, it's really nice to be able to roll dice and say, "Hey, all those crits, you're taking them."
Yeah.
Now there are other methods.
Where you've got the soft mod,
right? Exactly.
Which is the hit goes to a crit for protons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it also gets around. Hey, look at all those cool force users you've got that are turning all those focuses into evades. Guess what they can't do now? Right. I mean, you can still do it, but it's not going to help. So,
I think this might be the best Y-wing that there is.
I'm getting there to agree with you. Again, I want to see if there are upgrades to help lighten up some of those whites. Like we've already seen one upgrade that's going to get you at least a white target. Like I could almost live with a red barrel roll and a red boost.
Well, you're looking at a Y-wing. So let's go back to original Y-wings where you didn't have barrel roll and you didn't have boost to begin with. So you'd have to modify them some way to get those. I think at the end of the day, and I'm talking about, let's look back at first edition compared to second edition, because I know
of course
there's a difference between them. But I find it interesting that they have this set up. And like you said, it's a very stripped down version. So any time that you can go from 8 hit points to 9 hit, or 7 hit points to 9 hit points, and you're literally better. You now have target lock like you did before. You have focus like you did before. You have the ability to move your turret like you did. I don't know what else you want, to be honest with you. I mean, this is, and even if there isn't a torpedo and a missile slot on the base ship, you're adding it to it anyway.
I kind of hope that there's a missile slot on it, because that opens up like barrage missiles and
right.
I can't remember what's the new one that's 180 degree front arc. Where are you? Multi-missile pods. So you get a 180-degree arc. Because
I do like that idea.
It opens up a bunch of list building options. And I think resistance especially are lacking in that kind of area.
Well, to me, what I think it does is it starts flipping some switches with some variability and some option. And I know I'm going to say a swear word as far as X-Wing's concerned, but there was this other game that was kind of based on the same flight path system called Attack Wing, which was the Star Trek version. And one of the things that I always felt that game may have gotten right, even though that game was poorly mismanaged by WizKids, was that I always thought it was interesting that their version of the game was you bought a chassis, you bought a ship. So you either bought like a Constellation class or you bought a Galaxy class, you bought a ship. And then whatever pilots, whatever crew you put on those ships granted the abilities. So that would be the equivalent of buying this New Republic ship at bare bones prices. And then you put a Horton Psalm on there. Like he would be the pilot that you would attach it. So you would get his ability. That's almost kind of what I feel like this ship is trying to do in the fact that it starts off with this is the bare bones chassis. If you wanted to have 2 missile slots and you want to go for the barrage missiles or the missile pods, great, you can do that. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You could give it this other upgrade. You can give it engine upgrade and you can make it more of an arc dodger if you want. Like, I kind of like that. I'd like the idea of being able to flip some of those switches. And honestly, considering the environment that we're in right now competitively, I think a lot of the competitive players are going to like that too, because it allows them to flip some of those switches and say, ooh, this is what's really popular in the meta right now. I can still fly my Y-Wing. I just drop this upgrade and add this one instead. And now I'm still flying my Y-Wings. Like, I like that.
Yeah.
I did have one more. Sorry, go on, Sean.
Well, I was just going to say, I think this will give people options, to make a ship that's relatively good better. I've always liked the Y-Wings. I've always liked what they can do. And it will depend upon the dial. As long as it's not a restricted dial, and if you still have a similar dial to what you had with the Rebel Y-Wing or any of the other Y-Wings, I think we'll be in good shape with it at that point.
The dial could kill it. I'm not going to lie. You are right. If the dial's crap, this ship's going to die it's going to be dead on arrival.
Right.
Can I talk about First Order now? Can I talk about First Order now?
Well, I think you mentioned it, but obviously I was somewhat distracted. But the fact it's a 2-ship pack is interesting.
Yes.
Right.
Right. I think it's hard to argue against the cash grab mindset, but I don't know that it really bothers me.
I don't think it bothers me at all. And there's a couple of reasons. Like, first of all, in a post-COVID world, in case you didn't know, these things are manufactured in China and they do come over from the slow boat from China. So we are looking at situations where not only things from board games, graphics cards, everything in the silicon, like everything has been slower, and they're going to be slower for the foreseeable future for at least the next, a year to 18 months. So I would rather spend $40 and get 2 ships as opposed to trying to find that second Y-Wing that I want and can't find it because all the individual blisters are gone.
Right.
Just like the Alpha Class Star Wings, for example, like people can't find them. They've not been reprinted in 2nd edition yet. They're impossible to find. And if you do, you're paying through the nose. I still haven't put mine on eBay yet, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to. I went back to my case to make sure, yep, I do indeed have 3 sitting there. So I'll keep 1 and then I'll send the others 2 off to the internet and someone else can enjoy them since they can't find them. So yeah, no, I'm okay because it's not like they're price gouging. It's not like they're going to charge you $45 for this. They're going to charge you $40 for it, which is the same cost you'd be spending for 2 ships. And for that $40, you get 2 full functioning ships and in a faction that is in dire need of help.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The only thing I'd be worried about is if the optimal thing is run 3 of them and pull, then it starts to feel bad. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Or you could go worse, and I know you're holding me back on this one. If the optimal build for First Order is 2 Whispers, and you've got to go and buy 4 bombers that you might not necessarily want, and you're spending, what are those coming out to? $45,
I
$50?
think we've already seen that sort of in. I know a couple of my friends were running Separatists. They were running Maul and 3 of the belly rubs of the
Oh,
Bulbasaurs.
there you go. There's another good example.
Yeah,
So then you're
Yeah, but if you're a company, that's kind of what you need to do. It's.
yeah.
I mean, and it's been Fantasy Flight's history to do that to people. Look at the card games. You had to have 3 core sets. For most of their living card games, to be able to have the ability to have competitive decks, because they would only put 1 card that's important in a core set. So now you're buying 3 core sets at $40 a pop. So to get, especially starting out, to get a viable, deck to play competitively, you're looking at 3 core sets no matter what. So in a world that's built on, money and sales and everything else, I mean, what's it going to hurt?
Right.
If people really want to play those lists, just like Magic Ed, if you really want to play the badass standard deck, the new hotness that week, you got to spend the money sometimes.
$60 fetch
And
lands, 4 each. $60 shock lands, 4 each. Yep, you're gonna
right,
do it.
and you're going to do it. If you really want to run that, you're going to do it, and you'll either do it through trading, you'll do it through eBay, you'll do it through whatever you need to be able to run the list you want to run. And with tournaments restarting, you're going to see that. I think you'll see the complaints, of course, if, like Kris said, you need 3 of these things and a Poe. Well, now how are you going to come up with the third one unless they come out with a blister?
Right.
So
So maybe they go that route. Maybe they will blister these out in individual amount. I don't know that they are going to do that.
and if they
Um,
don't, they don't. It's just the way that it is, and we move forward in X-wing.
yep. What you'll end up seeing is you'll end up seeing these bombers on eBay. So
Yep.
if you're really interested in the bomber, I bet you're going to find a bunch of them out there, because if they turn
Mhm.
out to,
I'll bring that one
mediocre.
up instead.
What's that?
I'll bring up a picture for the first order, seeing as we're already
Okay.
there.
Good. Because they do look sharp. I do aesthetically like. I've always thought. I mean, all right, look, so I've been super hypercritical of the Disney Star Wars sequel trilogy, and as far as my like and dislike for it, the one thing that I will not fault them for, I always thought that the First Order had a really cool aesthetic. I thought their ships always looked really, really cool. Sure, they were Empire Plus. So like an FO had a shield and the original TIE fighter didn't, but that white on black with their paint scheme, I always thought was super cool. So aesthetically the ships are cool. I do like the direction they went with the bomber with folding down the wings. It does make me wonder if those articulate or not, or if they're designed to be bent like that.
Well, that's a good question, because
Doesn't look like it.
we did see in the Mandalorian how the wings articulate
On a
in
TIE
certain
fighter.
ships on a TIE fighter, to where you could get out of the thing if you weren't at a base or something like that. So
Right.
Do you want to know a reason I don't think they do move on the model anyway? Because in this squadron pack they are bent outwards, which is just asking to break them off as you try and pull them out of that plastic.
Yep.
So
No,
you're
right
if
on
they
that.
did move, you would have packed it in such a way that they were folded in, so that you didn't break them when you pulled them out.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So looking at it closely, looking at the picture closely, it could go either way, because it looks like where it connects could be a hinge point or not. I mean, it's really hard to tell if you go in tight,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
built
doing that
out
right
as
now.
a hinge.
It could be. It
Especially if you look at the far left one and you look at the outside detail, it almost looks like there's a pin. Like I said, this is just speculation, but it looks like there's a pin that runs through the wing.
yeah, like a metal pin. I could almost see that.
Yeah, something, either metal or plastic, but
I
it
would,
could just be the mold, the model molding too.
yeah. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be disappointed.
Mm.
I think they look sharp. I think it's a cool little twist on what the TIE Bomber really looked like back in the day. It's an interesting build, and of course the Whisper looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I do like the paint scheme they went with it.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
it does beg the question, of course, you have to assume, of course, that there's going to be a Kylo in that.
That's what we were saying, wasn't it, on the other show? Like, Kylo is probably going to be the best ship, which means that your choices at First Order is you either play Kylo or Kylo.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So let's
it's a
get into some
fun-filled action bar.
It is. So, which one do we want to look at? Do we want to look at the? We want to look
John,
at the.
do the bomber first, I suppose. That one.
Right. So let's go with the bomber. Starts off with 2 attack dice in the front. It's got 2 evade, 4 hull, and 2 shield. Comes base with a focus, target lock, barrel roll into a red target lock, a boost, and a reload into a evade. The baked-in ability on this ship is going to be called Pursuit Thrusters. During the system phase, you may perform a boost action.
Yeah,
Which still stays
I'm sure someone will correct me and if I'm wrong on this, but I'm 99% sure, having done zero research. But if it doesn't specify the difficulty of an action, it's white.
Yeah,
so
that's
your
what I was
Pursuit Thrusters boost should be a white boost, I believe.
Right.
Right. So you can do the white one in. Yeah, exactly. So that could be a ton of fun, especially for. We're going to assume is with the reload action, it's going to be loaded up with torpedoes and bombs and mines and stuff like that. That'll be a ton of fun.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
It's a little less beefy than I would have thought it would have been. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm trying to think.
It's a TIE bomber. It's the same half wheel as a TIE bomber.
It's a bomber.
Like you get 2 shields instead of 6 hull.
But that's kind of my thought process, though. So, like, whenever you had like the TIE FO, for example, it was basically a TIE fighter with 1 extra shield. This is basically a TIE bomber with the same. I mean, they mix it up as far as the health. They get 2 shields instead of 2 extra hull, which is arguably better because they can't be critted on those 2. I thought maybe they would have gone 3 shields.
But my hope is that so I get what you're saying, but I think you then start being in Punisher territory rather than TIE bomber territory.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pay Punisher points.
That's true.
Because FO is already more expensive. So if this keeps the points level closer to TIE bomber points, then I think there's stuff to explore. Like there was already like archetypes of like Vader plus bombers. So if this comes with 2 missile slots, you start getting to be able to run Kylo plus. If you can run Kylo plus 3 of these, it's game over, man. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
Wait, you're going to give the First Order an actually competitive build? That'd be nice.
But it's still Kylo plus something else in it, so it's no change really.
You don't know that he's going to have the same abilities. They could give him.
I'm not. I don't even care about new Kylo. I'm still talking about Silencer Kylo.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, that's true. That's true. Since we did move on to the Whisper, let's kind of get into this. The TIE Whisper Modified Interceptor. 3 attack dice only in the Bullseye arc. It does come with a turret that very similar to the A-Wing that can be rotated to the front or rear arc that comes with 2 attack dice, so it can fire in the rear if it wants. That's an interesting choice. However, I think we'll get into why I think they made this decision. 2 evade dice, 3 hull, and 2 shields. Its entire action bar is white, so it's focused into a turret move for free. It is an evade. It is a target lock. It is a barrel roll into a rotate for free, white. A boost into a turret rotate it for free. Super efficient.
It's basically a TIE SF from that. The TIE SF has got a primary front arc that's a 2 attack dice. This has got a primary bullseye, which is 3. So more offensive if you can line it up.
So here's the question I have. So with all this white in the action bar, does that mean there's more red in the dial?
If you follow through on the TIE SF comparison, not really. Like none of them are linked actions apart from rotates, and it can only rotate forward or backwards. And you're not rotating off a target lock, so you can't use it to do the missile, target lock and rotate a missile with a high initiative. So, I pretty much ignore. So it's got a heavy weapons turret, which again is the exact same as the SF.
Right, exactly.
It can only go forward and backwards, and it means that any missiles you equip have to use the indicator, a turret indicator, not the front arc. So
you can shoot missiles behind you.
Yeah, but it's basically an SF.
A better SF, if the dial is anything close. So like an interceptor style dial.
Well, I mean, is it better if it's 5 more points? What
with all the white on its action bar,
but that's what I'm saying. What's the white? What's the red on an SF action bar?
I'll stop my head.
None. It's the same.
It's the same.
I mean, I'll pull up the card for you now. Give me a second, because X-Wing, there we go. At some point today, please. Okay, so you're just not going to open. Cool. Just make my life harder. That's what I need. Okay. Let's have a look. Alright. Not an FO, we want the SF, Omega Squadron. So they've got focus into a white rotate, evade into a white rotate, target lock into a white rotate, barrel roll into a white rotate.
All whites.
Yeah.
All right. So the action bar is the same. Fair.
Yeah. They get this one has boost into a white rotate, which is better because, as we know with fire sprays with boost, being able to boost and have a rear arc move, because you can do a bank boost and then flip the thing to a rear, so you will open up shots you wouldn't otherwise get.
Right.
The SF has got an extra shield over this, and they've both got 2 agility. So they're pretty similar. So it basically comes down to a dial. Obviously, the SF style is all the 1s, all the 2s, all the 3s, but all the 1 hards are red. If this has got red 1 hards, I'll just quit X-Wing right now. We're never doing a podcast again. I mean,
for X-Wing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be extremely surprised if a ship that has Interceptor in its name, if you give it a red 1 hard.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and especially in the movie, didn't he do basically a one and then a K turn to come back at Rey?
You want to talk about the movie? He had Rey in his bullseye arc and still missed her.
No, that's why she was just outside the bullseye arc.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Just they called a judge and everything.
Got the laser line down, going, no, it's out.
So I did.
Oh, go ahead.
I haven't posted this to you guys yet, but I did want to bring it up. No, I did. I sent you a card. I didn't.
Yeah, you sent it.
This leaked card for the time.
Basically, let me find it all properly so that I'm not. So I couldn't find the tweet, but Max Brook, the former X-Wing lead, commented on AMG's tweet just after it went live. So he liked it and shared the tweet and then said, also, not to tease too much, but this expansion has one of the most entertaining and goofy mechanics I've designed. I can't wait for people to see it. Then on a couple of the Facebook groups has been a card shared, which was, I'm not going to bring it up because I'm not going to share unofficial material, but I said we could talk about it.
And that would be the enhanced jamming suite.
Yeah.
This So what it does, the enhanced jamming suite adds to the action bar the focus into jam, barrel roll into jam, boost into jam, and just a straight up jam. All of those, by the way, of course, are white. While you are jammed, you can choose yourself or another friendly ship. Or while you jam, I'm sorry. While
Yeah.
you jam, you can choose yourself or another friendly ship. While you defend, if the attacker has no green tokens or there is a jammed ship in the attack arc, you may roll one additional defense dice.
Yeah. So
Mm.
1.0, 1.0, 1.0.
you, alright, so you can jam yourself, and that means you go to 3 agility if you're ever attacked, because obviously you'd be a jam ship in the attack arc, or we couldn't attack you.
Right.
Versus what?
But it means you can't have tokens. Be a shame if Kylo existed and was in this ship and had force.
It would be a darn shame, wouldn't it?
Because then he's 3 agility with force. So, yeah, I mean, Kylo in the silencer, you never want to rely on just the force. You don't want to, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's too bad. It more comes into once you start knife fighting with this ship.
Yes.
Where, I can get in range of you, then I can focus into the jam. So luckily you can't target lock into a jam, but you can barrel. Well, okay, we'll be more realistic. You can boost into the range 1 bullseye shot, link it into a jam. They then don't have any green tokens. You've still got your. Well, let's be honest. It's about you running Kylo. He's going to exist. It's fine.
Yes.
So you've got you're forced to modify your shot, which is going to be 4 dice. They've got no tokens. Then they shoot you back, and you're agility 3, and have your force still. And yeah, seems good. I'm in.
Seems pretty darn good. I do wish that some of these would have been red actions, but alas, it's got an entire action bar with this enhanced jamming suite that's all white. All of it. Everything on there. So even the push the limit style that doesn't exist anymore but kind of does.
So remember, none of this is double reposition.
No, and I get that. And I genuinely do get the added benefits of double reposition with like a boost and a barrel roll. Totally get that. There was also a time where being able to focus and target lock at the same time was also pretty darn efficient, which is also not happening here. So I totally get that. But
it'd be a real shame if you can just target lock and have force. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh well. No, I mean, I'm not as bothered by these linked actions when it's the linked actions I struggle with the double reposition, which they seem to have done away with in favour of a bunch of system phase stuff now. So all of the new stuff that has it, like the ETA, the small Jedi ones, is you get a free system phase boost or barrel roll instead of getting to do a post-move reposition. So, I mean, it doesn't fix the fact that silencers, interceptors, and Aether sprites exist already.
Right?
Like, it doesn't fix that. And that A-Wings to an extent, but being forced to do a barrel roll first does handicap the A-Wings. You're not having that full versatility. But yeah, and realistically, it's only a problem for 3 attack dice primaries, in my opinion. But like, I think the definitive ace ship that is fair and balanced is Fenro. I think that's where every ace of the design should aspire to be Fenro. Because he's good, you can win games with him.
You're just a gigantic Fen fan. You're just gonna.
But this is part of the reason why. It's because
it is a fair argument. It really is.
He doesn't break the game. He does what he does, but if you catch him at range 2, he's dead. And it's not like, and there's no boost barrel roll or barrel roll boost. his linked actions is boost into focus or barrel roll into focus. So you can still reposition and have a mod, but you can't double reposition. So, and obviously they don't have, for those ships specifically, they tend to not give them modification slots, so you can't put afterburners on them. So we're very aware of that later on in 2.0. As I say, you can't undo the fact that the previous ships exist, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm willing to bet money that Kylo's the best ship, and unless current Kylo goes up, he's still not as good as current Kylo, so it's irrelevant.
We'll see. We'll see. So, like, even if it is still current Kylo, if the bomber's really good.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously we're not going to do it on this one, but we can kind of do the points thing because we've got a release date for it. It's September 24th. So we can do like points guesses for them in the future. But I would put money on this one being worse than Kylo, the Whisper Kylo being the worst of the two. He'll be a niche because of the jamming shenanigans, but flat out raw offensive capability and just which one's the better one to place your money on. I think Silencer Kylo is going to take some beating. He's the best ship in the faction. But I mean, arguably, Kylo is the best ship in the game, and he's just held back by the fact that he's in First Order.
Fair.
But yeah, anyway, that's my opinions on the Whisper. The Bomber, I agree. I just hope that, I hope we don't go, oh, well, it's a 2 agility ship, so that means each shield is worth 2 points over the hull that it would be if it were hull upgrades, so that means it should be 4 points more than a TIE Bomber. Then it's got this cool ability, which is another point, and then all of a sudden this is 6 points more than a TIE Bomber. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I don't have the TIE Bomber as an option. This is the only thing I've got, and it's now 1 billion points, so I can't afford to put any ordnance on it. So I should literally just fly FOs.
Right.
I don't like. There's the worrying thing about FO is they're getting more ships, but they all kind of feel like they tread on each other's toes a little bit. I think if you do the Whisper without the config, is it just an SF? If you do the Whisper with the config compared to the SF with the Special Forces Gunner, yes, you've got 2 different animals. But as the base chassis, and then with the Bomber, again, is that just the same efficiency? Why would you take this Bomber over the SF? It has to be cheaper than the SF, or do something different. Because the SF's got a white 5 straight. Is it white? Am I going crazy? Yeah, it does have, because this ship can really move. Yeah, so it's got a white 5 straight. So if the Bomber's only got a red 5 straight, but it's got its boost, I mean, yeah, it's quicker. You know what I mean? I don't know. I worry that the First Order faction is going to be the first faction that is just instantly solved, and you end up with the. I think we've brought this argument up in the past that generally makes Ed laugh, but it was the if you're trying to kill Space Marines, you want to take striking Scorpions instead of Howling Banshees because they kill 0.4 more Space Marines a turn on the charge or something stupid. I'm like, just get the fuck out of my game. just don't.
I literally just want, again, this is probably going to date the show a little bit. At least the, what the combat patrol is going to be for the new 40k orc faction, which I'm probably going to pick up for my son for, I don't know if I'm going to do it for Christmas. Depends on how much he can get painted in the time. I feel like I have to get it ahead of time. But there was an article I was reading on the points efficiencies of the new Beast Naga models versus the new Boys models. And it literally broke it down just like that. Like, Boys are more efficient at, this value, but once you start getting to the Beast Nagas, they're literally 8% more efficient than Boys because of that point, because of the 6-up invul save they get. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you are never going to notice that in game. That is such a small variance. And like, that's not including dice variance. That is going off of what average dice rolls are. And I don't know about the rest of you, but every time I ever play an orc player and they're like, I need 6s to do this, and they roll a bucket of dice, it comes out to like 24 6s. Like, it's literally, it gets down to that point. It's gross. It's just genuinely gross. So there is some variances in that.
Yeah, I mean, I got my name down for the Beast Snagger box, but I don't know if we're going to get enough for me to actually get one or not. Well, that would be one of her painting projects.
Oh boy, and those things sold out in like what, 12 minutes, 15 minutes? Those things sold out.
Yeah, something like that. I sent the guys doing the ordering a message because the local Games Workshop put a post up saying they'll have a couple available. So I could go. I mean, I don't think I care enough to try and get one that much. Like, just being 100% truthful. If I can get one and get it on my discount, then I probably want it. If I don't get my discount.
So the question for those things, the question for me is, how important is that special edition codex to you? And for me, that is going to be something that you carry to the table. I think I made a post about this in, I think it was the Alien RPG one, but I may have said something here as well. So for example, I have, whenever the Alien RPG came out, I pre-ordered it long before it came out, and I went hog wild on it, and I bought the special edition rulebook. And when I wanted to sit down and start playing, I didn't want to take it out of the container because it's a special edition, because it's this nice leather-bound book. I didn't want to ruin it by putting it at a table and have people flipping through it. So I bought a reading copy of that rule book so that I had a copy that if somebody spilled something or something, like it wouldn't hurt me as much to see that happen as it does for that special edition one. I want to keep that one special. My thought process is the same way with the special edition rule book that came with the Indominus box set. I bought another copy of the standard edition rule book because that's the one I'm going to have in my bag. It's going to get worn. It's going to get tossed into the back of the car. It's going to get thrown from table to table. People like, I don't want that special edition one getting ruined. Now, I know that they're fairly regularly available, but these are not. These are not going to be fairly regularly available. So like, it all depends on...
So the thing for me was I got the Sisters of Battle one.
Yeah,
and then it was like a mini codex, and then like it's instantly null and voided like 6 months later. And then they also got a new codex within like, was it 18 months or 2 years or whatever? It feels pretty short. So I'm like, I definitely want them for the models to paint, but obviously I've not started on the Dominion stuff yet. That's why I'm not overly fussed. It's just, I know that generally it's like almost a year for the plastic hero that's in them to come out. And that's the model I want to paint, so...
Yeah,
I could probably get one on the secondary market if I really needed to. But am I going to buy it to play 40k? Probably not. So it's definitely an impulse thing. And realistically, if I can't get it from the store and use store credit, then I can't get it because I need to pay for a new dishwasher and a new dryer. I never knew how expensive dryers were. I was
it all depends. Well, it all depends because dryers can go from, you can get it for $200, but they're the literal bare bones. Very little electronics. Very, it's all thermal control.
We're looking at like a mid-level dishwasher, and that was like $600 to $800. I was like, well, a dryer will be the same. It's like nearly double the price for the basic model of tumble dryer. I'm like, what? And then it's got to be a stackable one because of the space it's got to go in. I'm like, this is going to be like $2,000 for a fucking dryer.
Yeah,
like, Jesus.
Yeah,
it's stupid.
So yeah, I mean, it's okay because the car didn't break this year. It broke last year.
I was going to say that happened late last year.
Yeah.
The good thing is, though, is you'll have a new car, new appliances, new everything, so that, in 3 or 4 years, you won't have to worry about it.
The monthly statement came in for the car today, and there's like $2,000 left to pay. So that's paid off in January. I'm like, yeah, feels good, man. So still clinging to a good. I'm not. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not overly down about it. Like I say, as long as this meeting goes well on Thursday, it means that realistically, Dice Hate and the streaming will have to suffer. But at some point, I have to be a grown up, really, don't I? So.
Never.
It's when I end up having to change our recording from Thursdays, which has been like for what feels like forever now. Like 9 years of.
Yeah, it was tradition because what it did whenever I was originally doing the editing, and then Kris, thankfully, through the grace of his, as much as he tries to play himself off as an asshole, he really is one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. Whenever he was kind enough to take over the editing, what it did is it allotted for, we record on Thursday, they gave me the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, to edit so that we could have the show out by Tuesday, which was the release date.
Well, we've kept the Tuesday release date, and I think this is the second one in 2.5, nearly 3 years that we still put something out, but it wasn't what was supposed to happen. So I think we've done pretty well.
Yeah, I forget what the last time was that happened.
I think we just had a bunch of something went wrong for you, something went wrong for me, something went wrong for Sean, something went wrong for Chad, and like we literally, I remember doing like a half hour, an hour long solo show that I put out. Whereas I just need to put something out so I don't feel bad. Yeah. Anyway, we're at like an hour and 40 minutes of a half hour. Just get something done. So.
All right, so we'll go ahead and do the closeout. So, Kris, you've got some shilling you would like to do. By all means, please do.
Yeah, if you would like to be able to, support my awesome parenting style of putting on PJ Mask and giving her the iPad so that she leaves me alone long enough to talk to you guys, you can support the show on Patreon. If you want to, just be able to pay for dishwashers. If you have a tumble dryer you want to pay to ship, just reach out through lackoffocuspodcast@gmail.com. I'm sure the international shipping rates are really cheap at the moment, so that won't be a problem. But yeah, if you've got anything you want to reach out to us about, lackoffocuspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us Lack of Focus Podcast on Facebook. You can look at the Dice 8 Patreon if you want a monthly payment and want to support that way. If you want to do per episode, go to Lack of Focus Podcast on Patreon. The best way to keep in touch regularly is actually on the Discord. We get some fairly regular, I'd say there's almost topics of conversation every day, maybe every other day. It's still a relatively small community, which is nice because everyone kind of knows everyone else. Yeah, but there's always some topic going on. So make sure you check that out. You can done Facebook, done Patreon, that one. You can follow me on Twitch as well. That is Lack of Dice Hate Kris on Twitch. And my Instagram's the same. If you want to see the models I'm painting on Twitch with nice lighting and stuff, so it'll look better. Well, yeah, I think that's all the shilling I've got to do.
The stream's fantastic. You absolutely should turn in on that one. Yeah. I'm there almost without fail every Sunday because it gives me a good solid. There's something to be said. One of the things that to become a better painter, it's practice. It's become better at anything. It's practice. It's genuinely building that muscle memory and doing something. And it's been super helpful to not only sit down and dedicate that time to, I'm going to support my friend who's doing a stream, and it gives me an excuse to paint. But then if you just listen to what he's saying, you get to pick up on some stuff. You're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, you start to learn things while you're doing it. So it's been super helpful for me. I genuinely do enjoy it.
And I never forget the musical choices as well. You missed out on Tuesday, Ed. We had British rap music. So we listened to...
Oh my God, I'm so sorry I missed that.
We listened to The Defamation of Strickland Banks by Plan B, the full album. So I picked a couple of albums that tell stories. So is that the concept albums? Is that what you call them? Where it's a continuation of Fort. So Defamation Strickland Banks, and then we listened to The Streets and A Grand Don't Come for Free. So we had two of those. So some high quality music.
I'm still waiting for my 80s pop day. I told you
we
that.
did half of it.
Did you? When?
We definitely had 80s on. So yeah, well, we can do 80s on Sunday.
I'm just saying because I did not see that.
Sunday might be a little bit of a late one though, because Jill might be working, so I'll have Evie again, and I can't lock myself in the furnace room. Right, it's a different area of the house entirely.
Trust me, I totally understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I could definitely go. Maybe one show without the Oasis. It's like, not that I'm not an Oasis fan, and not that I don't like that play.
I think there's only 2 Oasis songs on that 3-hour playlist. I did have Wonderwall on twice for some reason, so I did remove one of the Wonderwalls.
Oh, okay, maybe I missed that.
And
there are some interesting song choices that I have found myself thinking. Just fair war, like
it was definitely it's Frozen. Is Sean frozen as well? Is it literally just me? Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah, your video is frozen on our side.
You got a big smile, so
there you go.
It's fine. It was just you two who froze on my side, which is the important one, because that's what everyone else sees.
Right.
Yeah, I think I did a decent enough job of picking.
You did
enough different variety of music that no one will hate all of it. I don't think the music is the reason you'd turn it off. That was my only goal. Music that I could listen to that wouldn't make people turn the stream off.
Yeah. I'm only having fun with you. That is all.
Oh, I don't care. I told you all I'm going to have to do is set up like a thing where you can request a song live by paying me money. Once I've figured all that out,
are you going to be doing any more where you can be joined in chat, like where I can like join in Discord? Are you going to be doing that again?
I'm back and forth on how I want to do it. So obviously, as it gets bigger, having an open chat becomes more problematic.
I was going to ask that question.
But yeah, I think I'll do some. I don't know that it'll be the Sunday one, because generally I'm thinking that's the one where I have the most structured time to be more energetic. So I think I need that for more of the ones where, like, if theoretically I should be streaming now.
Yeah.
So if I did a Friday night painting stream or something, that might be the open Discord hangout kind of thing. And you don't get to use the VOD for that.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can always put it on the same channel as the music so that it just doesn't go on to the actual VOD. So it'll be fine. Unclippable. Turn off clips. It's fine.
I figured I'd ask. I was kind of curious.
Yeah. I'm sort of
because
getting
it's completely for selfish reasons. I'm not going to lie. The selfish reason is I'm in the middle of painting, so
you want to be able to talk.
And I want to be able to respond to you, but I can't because I've got a paintbrush and a model, and I'm in the prayer stance where I'm holding a model and painting at the same time, and then I've got to stop so I can type an answer out. And
it's kind of awkward. Sorry, Sean. It's kind of awkward because I want to be talking to the people in chat, but I also need to be able to talk to the stream. And because I'm painting, I can't, even when I've got the stream deck set up, it's hard to manage the audio out. So it relies on you guys just being aware enough that I'm talking to chat at the moment, which puts a burden onto the other people in the Discord to know what's going on, kind of thing. So that's the reasoning behind the choice at the moment.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Like I said, I was only asking strictly for absolutely selfish reasons.
You know, you could do it where you have Discord mods where they submit questions to Discord mods so that there's a Discord conversation going on, but then questions are fed to you through people who understand that if you're talking to chat, you're not going to be answering the questions, things like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have the Discord chat live through what you're doing on the stream. You could do it to where you can still hear the Discord. It's just you're doing
Yeah,
it
there's
through
a few
mods.
different ways of setting it up and everything, but I'm just trying to I'm still trying to play around with the ideas for the camera on the model at the moment to get that to the best quality I
Right.
can, and that's a struggle at the moment. I think I said on one of the previous streams, I tried the webcam. So the camera I'm using for the YouTube that everyone can see is watching on YouTube is my SLR. That's permanently set up on this computer now. I might have to remove the SLR and see if I can set it up in the furnace room to get that better clarity. But that relies on one of my friends said that he's got a capture card that I can use because a USB one because I can't spend more money.
No.
Again, it's happened. Basically, this is what happened. I spent the money on the computer that's in there, then the car broke. I spent the money on a new monitor and a new microphone to go in there so that I could cut it. Because the mic I was using, I couldn't get rid of the sound of the furnace running. So it was really echoing, just really, really bad quality. So I was like, I want to do it, so I'm going to have to do it. So I did that, but I spent money. So obviously the dishwasher broke. So I can't I can't have anything else break in the house. So I can't buy a capture card.
I'm going to throw you out with a statistical thing here. Like, correlation does not equal causation.
I think you'll find.
I think you'll find.
I mean, I agree.
Operational battle station.
I agree, but would you take the chance?
The streak that you're on, no, I agree with you 100%.
So a conversation, I think I had an argument's the wrong words. It wasn't heated, and it was pretend heated, but it was more banter than an argument. It was on the Crate Discord chat with Kris Allen and a couple of people about like dice superstition and like sharing dice and all of that. And I was like, if you're playing X-Wing and you have 3 green dice out, so you've got a pile of 12 green dice, and you take 3 of them out and you roll for an entire turn, like you roll 12 times and you come up 12 blanks. Sorry. 3, 12, however many blanks it is, it's too late, I can't think. But if it came up 36 blanks, would you put those dice back and just get other ones?
Probably.
But
I wouldn't do it through any level of dice suspicion or superstition.
Because they were like, dice superstitions are stupid. And I was like, I agree. But in this scenario, when the dice are right there, why wouldn't you?
So what's interesting about superstitions, though, is that they do affect you because your dice are not holding up, and you went from a position, let's say, where you were winning to losing because your dice started dropping off, and then it becomes that fatal flaw in your brain that superstition creates the spiral.
Yes.
And it's the same thing in life. Things happen to people in life. So one thing and then another thing. They don't understand that there's 50 things. So the causality. There's 50 things interlinked. They see this 6 negative and not the 46 positive.
Yes.
And that's how the brain works, because the brain doesn't see that you're eating every day, that you're going to work every day. The basic needs in life are being met. It's just everything's happening at once.
Yeah.
And that happens to people. It's the same thing with dice. That's what a superstition is. It's when something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
I 100% agree with that. The problem that I have is that I know that the manufacturing process for especially opaque dice isn't the best. And depending on the quality of those dice being produced, those things can have air bubbles in them that you would never know are there unless you cut the dice
Right.
open. So I absolutely have if I get, especially whenever I was like for example, I know that the super expensive clear regional dice from at least the set that I have for X-Wing roll like shit. I know they do because I've rolled them out 200 times and did statistics on what they were coming out and what they should be and what they are, and I know that they're under, that they roll more blanks than they should. Do I still roll them when I play games of fun games for X-Wing? Sure do, because they're badass. Because I've got the clear dice. Like I still
Right.
absolutely roll those. But like legitimately, if when I was really heavy into the competitive scene, I wanted to take that variance out, and I did. Because I bought so many core sets. I've got boatloads and boatloads of dice. So the dice that I bring to the table, the ones that I know are the ones that roll statistically even, down the middle, kind of thing.
I
Just
can't
because those are the
remember
ones.
what the school of probability is and there's a name for this. But I'd use the facetious argument all the time of like, well, you do the belief when you've got a two choice. So it's like believing in God. If you believe in God and are right, you go to heaven. If you believe in God and are wrong, nothing happens. If you don't believe in God and are wrong, you go to hell. So you've got that four outcomes. There's a name for it. It's
Is
called. I
that the
can't remember.
Venn diagram or whatever?
No.
It's not a
No,
Venn diagram.
I know what
yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
It's the same thing with the dice. It's like if I keep rolling these dice and they are cursed, then I lose. If I keep rolling them and they're not cursed, it's fine. But if I change and there's no such thing as dice curses, it makes no difference.
Yeah, it genuinely, it's a randomly generated roll. It's
Yeah.
one of the things I love about the rules of probability for the game like that.
But it's like determinism versus free will and everything. Like, if you want to get a philosophical conversation, it doesn't matter which dice you roll, the results already determine what it's going to be. But on the one chance that those dice are bad, then it didn't hurt you. You're not having to put any effort in because you've got a power green dice. So I don't really, realistically, in that instance, I question anyone who says they would persevere rolling those dice. And the only reason you would is if you got that far, you want to keep going until they didn't, because it becomes its own thing. But realistically, if the other dice were just there and you have that mindset, you wouldn't get that far. You'd change before you got to 36 blanks in a row.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah,
like
anyway.
personally myself, if that's the case, there's a reason why people bring a boatload of dice to a game. And it's not because you gotta figure the most dice I'm ever gonna roll are in my list is 6. Like that's the max. You would never need to take any more than 6 dice in any scenario whatsoever. People don't. They bring a bunch, and they bring a bunch for that reason.
I went through a phase with the black, the charcoal grey regional dice, where I took 6 red and 6 green. And I didn't enjoy my life. No, I mean, the other point as well that I always do is whenever I play a guy called Mark, he's not superstitious with his dice, but he'll like rotate through his big pool, but generally has good luck with dice. So I just share his dice. So I just said to him, which dice do you want to use? Do you want to use mine or do you want to use yours? And he always picks his, so I roll his, and it feels good when I use his dice to screw him.
So what I always do, in any dice-oriented game, so for Chad's completely the opposite of me. If we sat down to a game and in your dice, you've got and I know I keep pointing about the 40K stuff, but the 40K, the Games Workshop dice are notoriously unbalanced in the fact that they roll more 1s than 6s. This has been proven through statistical analysis of the way that Games Workshop manufactures dice. And Chessex has the same problem because of the rounded corners. It's the rounded corners that increase.
It's the rounded corners in combination with divoted pips.
Right, exactly. So for me, the dice that I pick for 40K are the bicycle dice that I have are sharp corners and the divots are not that deep. I would love to be able to get away with playing with casino dice. But unfortunately, some people, because there are people that know how to professionally roll casino dice, there's a stigma if you show up to a competitive event with casino dice, which
Just use a cup.
Yeah,
Dice cup and casino dice.
A dice cup or a dice tower.
Yeah, even a dice tray where you do the same thing as like on a craps table where you've got to hit the back wall kind of thing.
Right. What I would love for the thing that kills me is like I own the casino dice. I have them because I want to be able to roll them, but I just don't. I would love for them to be. I think they're 19 millimeter scale. I'd love to be able to find ones that are of that exact same ilk, where the pips are basically filled in, so there is no weighting disbalance. But I'd like to find them in like a 16 millimeter.
Yeah, there's a bunch that do like the painted dice and stuff like that. I'll send you some links for some good dice.
Yeah, it has to be sharp edges and painted pips.
Yeah,
because that's what I want, and it has to be at 16 millimeter. Because the 19 millimeters are nice, but like so, for example, I had a scenario where I had an entire squad of Necron warriors that were going to be rapid firing into a squad of Chad's Marines. That's 40 shots. That's 40 shots at 19 millimeters. I don't have enough hand space to stack them up into a cube and genuinely give them a valid shape. Do you know what I mean?
Need a bigger cup.
This is fair.
You need a bowl at that point.
Well, I legitimately, I started looking into potentially building a dice tower so I could just start dumping it.
You could even share the cup bed so it's 2 players on 1 cup.
Oh, all right. That's a perfect place to end this one. So on that note, I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. Do appreciate and hopefully your understanding of the lateness. And I do want to thank Kris in advance for all the hard work he's going to be putting in for editing this and trying to get this out. So I do want to thank him for that. So I do hope you enjoyed. And until next time, guys, I almost gave my YouTube intro. There it goes. I haven't recorded a video in a couple of months. I need to get back in it. I've taken a hiatus. As always, guys, fly casual. Thank you once again for joining the Lack of Focus X-Wing podcast. Check out Dice Hate Productions for all the latest episodes, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next episode.